I have two questions for you. First, what are the values, personality traits, and mental states that you would like to embody? Second, where in your life and how often are you in visual contact with these values, personality traits, and mental states? If these two questions sound weird, I want to read to you two psychological laws defined and recognized by one of the most underrated psychologists of the 20th century, Roberto Assaoli. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, in his book, The Act of Will. Law number 1 states, images or mental pictures and ideas tend to produce the physical conditions and the external acts that correspond to them. Then law number 3, out of multiple laws that he states, says ideas and images tend to awaken emotions and feelings that correspond to them. So here I'm quoting him, ideas and images tend to produce acts in accordance with the first law and tend to produce emotions in accordance with the third law. Now, why are we speaking of this? Because you have these ideas of what you would like to embody, what type of person you would like to become. A focused person, a courageous person, a disciplined person, a generous person. But where in your life and how often are you in visual contact with the imagery of courage, imagery of discipline, imagery of focus, imagery of generosity? Here is also how you can look at this, or how you can see that this is true. All societies have been designed, and even more in the past, designed according to the values of that society. I mean, it's not more in the past, it's also very much present today, but in the past it was, let's say, nurturing some greater human values: beauty, balance, community, justice. That imagery was noticeable in the structures and the external design of societies of the past. I'm not talking about all of the societies, but it can be seen across the world and across cultures. But now we can also see that the values of our societies are very much present in the visual design and structure of our societies. And what are those values? Consumerism, efficiency, speed. But now this is about you. What are your values? Can you answer that? Can you answer what are the personality traits that you would like to embody, and what are the mental states that you would like to spend more time in? If you can answer those questions, now your next task is to do one of the most underrated yet highest leverage things that you can do for yourself, and that is to surround yourself with the imagery of what you would like to embody. So a lot of people in the last couple of weeks have been asking me about this poster. They've seen it on my Instagram reels, and now on my YouTube videos they're asking about the poster, where they can get it. I designed it. It says slow down, breathe, focus, flow, and it shows some of my favorite fictional characters in meditative poses. Or I should say, some of my favorite fictional characters in relation to the values and personality traits and mental states that I'm trying to invoke. And those are mindfulness, presence, focus, patience, clarity, peace, flow. So it's enough to spend 5 minutes per day looking at this, and it's going to be infinitely greater or infinitely different compared to me just thinking that I want to embody these things. Let's consider courage. For men out there, I cannot speak for the ladies, but for men, if you watch the movie 300, the famous movie with Gerard Butler in the lead role, when you watch that movie, the whole movie is a representation of courage, fierce courage. and you feel more courageous while watching the movie. Well, you cannot watch the movie 300 every day. I mean, you can physically do it, but maybe it's not the best idea to watch it every single day in order to become more courageous. But can you surround yourself, and if not designing your living space, can you create something like a poster? Can you choose some images that you can have on your laptop and just spend 3 to 5 minutes or maybe 10 minutes per day looking at that imagery to invoke the feeling and potentially the action of courage? I took courage as an example because, once again, movies show this really well. But it's not just about the movies. It's not just about something so intense and so stimulating as a movie, a TV show, an animated series or an animated movie. Those, because they are so intense and because they captivate us so much, their effect tends to be greater. But it is way more practical to have that visual imagery in the form of a poster, in the form of a maybe small image that you will, or a small image that is printed out that you will keep in your pocket. Who knows? Play around with the idea. But remember that societies always try to design the cities and the external environments, the city square, based on the values in order to influence their citizens. Now it takes on a bit of a different form, and we could argue that previous societies wanted more and higher and better things for their citizens, but maybe we shouldn't be engaging in that discussion. Maybe we could say this: advertising industry is the prime example that these two psychological laws are true. Because why would they be spamming you with visual imagery that is aligned with what they want you to think, with the mental states that they want you to adopt? When you go inside a mall, it's very clear. You're being influenced to value being pretty by the conventional standards of that society at that point in time. You're influenced to value being rich enough to buy enough stuff. You're influenced to value being young so that you would buy all the cosmetics and all the anti-aging treatments and so on and so forth. So the advertising industry is using this law, and we could even, or these laws, and we could say even it's using them against you. So why don't you use these laws for you? My challenge to you is to answer the first question: values, personality traits, and mental states that you want to embody. And then to go about spending more time in visual contact with representations, with visual representations of those values, personality traits, and mental states. Here is one of mine. Believe it or not, I have multiple different posters that I designed for myself. This one is on display right now. Some of them I spend certain amount of time looking at in digital form. Some of them you will maybe see in the future. And they're supposed to invoke different things. Not so much peace and not so much flow, but maybe some other things. Again, maybe at some point I share them with you, but now this is not about me. It's about what you're going to do, what mental states, personality traits, and values you are going to invoke for them to be present in you more and more, to the point where you are genuinely feeling them as part of yourself and then acting on them because you've been held by the visual imagery of them. That's it, friends. Let me know if this is interesting. Let me know if you're going to take me up on this challenge. I would love for you to share in the comments what your values, personality traits, and mental states are that you have chosen. And I'm not sure you can share images in the comments, but maybe over there on Instagram you can share what you create and tag me in your images. So yeah, Thank you. Hopefully this one was useful, and I'll talk to you soon.